Hi, I'm Alexi. I'm a volunteer at Cinema, and with Festival du Voyageur coming up soon, I thought I'd show you guys a super simple craft to make. And it's a little mini stencil fléché that you can put on a keychain. It could be a little accessory or even any type of decor. It's super simple, and you just need some straws and yarn to make it. And hey ho! Welcome back, everyone. So now I've got everything in front of me that I need to make the craft. I've got my yarn, and here we have one that goes through different colors all on the same string, so when it'll be all put together we'll see all the different colors and I don't have to switch out my string. And if you only have solid colors, that works totally fine too. You could just tie both strings together once you want to add a new color. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these straws at a length that I want. Any length works. It depends on what you want to make out of the craft. So if you want it a bit smaller, do shorter strings. If you want something longer to maybe make a bracelet, then for sure you could totally keep the straws longer. Now I'm just going to tape them together. It can be done pretty loosely, just because you're going to be weaving the string through these straws, so you don't want it to be too tight, but still all just close together. Alright, so now I've got my straws taped together and I'm going to start weaving. So I want to leave a long enough tail with the string here, and you just hold it in place. Doesn't really matter too much where. And you're just gonna, this is the weaving part, so I'm going to start by putting it through this first one and around. Again, it doesn't really matter where you start with this as long as you're alternating. So I'm going, right now I went over, I'm going to go under, I'm going to go back around, over, under, and over. So you're just alternating. When you get to the other side, you go above it, and then I'm just going to slide it all down and make sure it is tight enough. So I'm going to bring it all the way down here. I want it to be nice and snug. And you just keep going on the same pattern. Keep going until the end. Now I'm getting a bit closer to the end. I still got a ways to go, but it's quite relaxing, I find, to just do this. It's super simple, and I think another good way to get into the festival spirit is to maybe even listen to some good fiddle tunes while you're doing this. But honestly, anything with a fiddle is very festival. There's probably some playlists out there too if you search up Festival du Voyageur, but I find there's always some good classics that I remember from just at school. If we had some pancake breakfast. The yarn that I'm using here, it takes a long time to switch colors, so I might not even get a bit of red, but I think it still looks really pretty. Red is I find that's the most prominent color in all of the festival things. That's the color of the mascot of the festival, Leo Latuc. It's got a name. And in almost all of the stencil fléchés that I've seen, they always include red, usually like green, blues, and yellows as well, and some white, sometimes some purple. They're very pretty, and they were actually used by the voyageurs, usually to support their backs when they would carry lots of their, I guess, what they were bringing in their boats. Some of them would get hernias, so the stencil fléché would support their backs a bit more, and it was used for quite a lot of things too. It'd help if they made some type of pulleys to bring things, and it was almost like a rope, or it served many different purposes. So I'm coming closer to the end, I've got just a bit more to go. But other than the music, to get into the Festivus spirit, maybe make some bannock, have some pea soup. I think I've just got a bit more to go. And when you're nearing the end, we're actually going to thread the yarn through the straws. And then that's going to serve as a bit of our something to tie the ends to. Alright, I think I've got just a bit more. It's fine if there's a bit left at the top of the straws, because it'd be quite difficult to tie it together if you don't have anything left. I think I'm just going to do one more little bit. So I ended up having one more color here. Not the red, but I think it looks pretty. It's interesting for sure. I'm going to cut it off so I can use more of the string to thread it through. So I'm going to grab 3 more pieces, long enough to fit through the straw. You can also make them long if you want a bit of a tail. I've seen some people, they like to have tails at the end of it. They're long enough to put beads, so if you use it as a bookmark, you can add beads at the ends of it. Looks pretty cool. Now I'm just going to fit this through, if I can. Alright, and you just thread it through. And you do the same thing for the other 3. So I have put my strings through these straws here. It's got the 3 strings. As you can see, we've got a bit of an intruder here. It's because these strings wouldn't fit through the middle straw. I'm not sure if I bent it or something, but that is completely fine. I just grabbed a thinner one. Hopefully you guys won't have that issue. I'm just making sure that my ends are tight so that I can move on to the next step. Okay, so I just brought it a bit closer so hopefully it's easier to see. But I'm going to take the string that I have that was using to weave around the other straws, take this one and tie it to the string coming out of the straw that's closest to it. So just a simple knot like so. I'll double knot it. There we go. And now, so I tied those 2 together. Oops. Now I'm going to tie the one that was in the middle straw with the one that was in this straw right here, and tie those. So you're just basically tying 2 of whichever, just the ones that are closest to it, or closest to each other, sorry. It's a bit funky looking with that bright white one, but it works just fine. So here I just got a double knot. Okay, so those ends are tied. I just want to pull them so that they're close, fairly close to alrighty. So now I'm going to start sliding the weaving onto those knots there. So I tied these are still untied. Oh. This part is a bit tougher. It should be fine. Just do it little by little. keep going. Oop. That was a bit abrupt there. You want to try and do it not quite like that, a bit more smoothly, but it's still, as you can see, very intact. So just still sliding it off. Okay, so here we go. We have it. So I'm just gonna make sure everything is as tight as it can be. You can keep kind of rearranging it so that it's flat. It's all kind of squished together. And as we can see here, the knots that I made, they weren't that close to my weaving, but they still work out fine because it gets slipped up to it anyways. Alright, so now I'm almost done here, just kind of rearranging it. Try to make sure everything's nice and close there. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the top. So this is the string that I was weaving around. I'm going to tie it to the one that was closest, or that is closest to. I want to make sure it's close enough to the top there. Double knot it. And now do the same thing for the other two that are left. Got my double knot. These are the two knots that I'd made, one right here and the other one right there. I'm just gonna tie both together right here. Tie them with each other. Yeah, that's actually quite a lot easier. So it's all together at the end, just like that. Do another double knot. Just make sure it's secure. And I will do the same thing on the other side. So now I think since all my strings are different lengths, I'm going to trim the ends so it's more all around the same length. But again, if you were wanting to make a bookmark with your miniature Saint Fléché, or any color, so it doesn't need to be, you know, mini Saint Fléché. I think it's just fun to get, since it is February now, get into those festival days, that spirit. Now that I've trimmed the ends of the excess string, here's my final product. I think this is great for sure if you, again, want to do it as a bookmark. You can really get creative with the colors, even the purpose of it. Again, as a bookmark, even some people as a bracelet or a headband. And with different festivities, you can for sure change the colors. Super simple, super fun if you have, again, for festival, if you have reds, blues, greens, white, lots of different colors. Honestly, lots of Saint Fléchés have many different colors. They're all super pretty. You can kind of just, I think it was fun to recreate your own little mini one. Maybe carry around with you. Hope it was great for you guys. Hope you had a good time making it. And have a good festival.